sure, presenting a medium-term plan in those circumstances is very challenging. There is a war going on in Ukraine, and you know that we have a bank there, and we have tried to show as much as solidarity as possible to our employees. There are geopolitical tensions throughout the world. There are even political tension in our countries. And on top of that, there is a change in the monetary regime. For all these reasons, the uncertainties are very high. But precisely because the uncertainties are huge, we think it's appropriate to give some guidance to our customers, to our investors, to our employees. And furthermore, we realize that focusing on the long term was the real answer. If the short term is uncertain, the long-term prospects are clearer. We see in particular that all the choices we have made are being validated by what is happening today. We have made the choice of Europe, and maybe there is more solidarity in Europe than ever. We have made the choice of giving the priority to customers, to society needs, to ecological transition, and to social cohesion. That's the long-term prospect which correspond to the needs of our clients, and we think that's appropriate to reaffirm this ambition. Well, that's a very broad and difficult question to be answered very shortly, but I would say a few things. First of all, we don't change our strategy because it's a winning strategy. When you see what we have done during the last medium-term plan, we have achieved all our targets 1 year in advance, and that shows the resilience of models, the solidity of models. So we will remain on the same strategy on the long term, which is based on our model, which is a universal banking model, and we are convinced that will continue to work. And at the same time, we want to develop all the businesses we have in the group, which are extremely powerful. I think in particular those present in Germany, like consumer finance, asset management, depository, and also obviously investment bank. We are convinced that this model will lead to a situation in which we will be able to reiterate the very good performance we had during the past years. We are convinced that we will reach a cost-income ratio which will remain one of the best in the market. We are convinced that we will be able to have a net result by 2025 above 6 billion. And we're also convinced that we will maintain a very high profitability with an objective of being above 12% of ROTE for the group. But indeed, we will not only rely on the continuation of the model. We want to speed up in a variety of domains, and we have presented in this medium-term plan for all the business lines elements of acceleration. It's very difficult to speak about them right now, but just take the example of the fact that in consumer finance we are doing a decisive move towards mobility. And all this, we are convinced, will accelerate the momentum. On top of that, we put a special stress on the fact that we won't be excellent in terms of transition to green business and also helping the social transition with this particular accent put on health and retirement. Those are areas which correspond precisely to the needs of our clients, and we are convinced that on the long term they will support our growth and our profitability. Well, first of all, I have to remind the fact that Germany is very important for the group. It is a country in which we have an NBI which is around 580 million euros per year, and we want to reinforce our presence in this country. It's also a country in which we have quasi all the business lines, apart from retail bank, indeed. And the ambition is to grow the business in Germany in all the directions, for the CIB with a very ambitious target of increasing our NBI by 8%, 9% per year. In consumer finance, taking the opportunity of developing new mobility services, as the one I've described a few minutes ago. In factoring, thanks to the creation of a fully European platform, and so on and so forth. So the ambition is to reinforce the presence in this country, because it's the strongest country in Europe, because there are huge investment needs stemming from the energy transition, and we have the feeling that all the knowledge of CACIB, all the experience we have accumulated in this field will help the German people and will help our business by delivering this kind of services. There are a number of commitments we have taken in this regard for all the business lines, and in particular for CACIB and also for Amundi. Let's take the example that, in particular, Amundi is supposed to have all its open fund rated against the climate elements next year. But I won't go through all these different commitments. I think that the important message is to understand that social responsibility will become more and more at the center of our activity. It's not philanthropy. It's not something which we'll do outside the normal business, but it will become more and more at the center of the activity. Because, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, there are huge needs of investment, in particular because of energy transition. There are huge needs in order to accommodate the people's willingness to have a better health, to have higher pensions. And the role of the whole group is precisely to provide them all the services, to integrate the services. In this respect, we are planning to create two new business lines, one on health, one on energy transition. Those business lines has not to be seen as depriving the other ones from what they are doing now, but rather as places in which we will architect all the services we couldn't provide our clients with in this domain, which will remain more and more important for the customers.